Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you've had a wonderful week since I last podcasted. I don't know why, but I am feeling very giggly right now, so trying not to burst out laughing for some reason. Something's funny to me. But I just wanted to say a quick Happy Canada Day. I hope all my Canadian friends up north had a wonderful Canada Day on July 1st. And to all my friends in the USA, which is where I live, I hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July, which was yesterday. We had a 3-day weekend and we did a ton of things, too much for me to even really go into without it being a crazy long podcast, and I don't want to do that. So the only thing that was that we wish we could have done that we didn't was we didn't get to go to see fireworks. The downtown San Antonio fireworks were not running this year for some reason. We didn't research into why so much, but they just said they weren't going to be doing it. And we looked at other places to take the kids, but they all started at 10 p.m. at night, and my 3-year-old cannot hang with that. She goes to bed at about 8:30. 9 is pushing it. So we did sparklers and just had some kind of fun with different stuff with that, but we didn't get to go and see a big display or anything. But hopefully next year when she's a little bit older and can stay up later without having 3-year-old meltdowns. So I wanted to show you guys what I finished this week. I'm very excited because you ever had this with a project where you're done before the project is done? I was pretty much done with this project, but I still had more to do. I wanted to, use up as much of the yarn as I could. And the thing that I finished this week was my Moonraker shawl by Melanie Berg. And I really love this. Now when I say, I was done with it, I think I was asking myself mentally, why was I done with this? Let me show you it first. Here's the first color play. I love playing with colors, the blue and the purple. And it transitioned into a deep purple and a light blue, or light purple. And then it transitioned into a light purple and a green. And then it transitioned to green with kind of a pinky purple, a fuchsia purple. And then I keep going. And then, if you'll notice, it repeated itself right here. So I think that's why I was done with it, was that there were no new colors. And so in my mind, I had gone through the entire color sequence, so it should be done, but it wasn't. But I finished it, I plowed through and got it done. And it's gorgeous and huge at the end. So this was done out of a kit that I got last year from Frabtus Fibers in the Wonderland color, and it came with the gray, and then it came with all these coordinating colors. It did, however, not come with the white, so I bought this extra so I could finish off the shawl. And I did it out of sport weight, but the pattern calls for fingering, so this is a little bit bigger in the width and a little bit cushier, so I really like that. And the white one is one that I got from Jimmy Bean's Wool called Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play. It's just really nice, and I think it's going to be really cute with some a white t-shirt and some jeans in the fall. Take a sip of my coffee. I'm having more cold brew coffee today because I don't know if anybody does this in your neighborhood, but they were setting off fireworks till the wee hours of the morning, and according to my lovely Fitbit, I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night. So coffee it is. And somebody was commenting on the YouTube channel that they had been making their own cold brew, and I need to look up recipes for that because I just kind of buy it at the store, but I would love to make it. So the next things I have going on is my Hitofude cardigan, and this is in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag. And the yarn that I am using for this, I'm in my last skein, so it's really exciting because it means it's almost done. Some Jinx yarn, the single merino in the Rain colorway, and this is 100% superwash, 400 yards for every 100 grams. And I made a lot of progress on this. I had a couple days where I just worked on this, so I think I got about 6 inches, half a foot knit on it. And I am doing some extra repeats to use up all of the yarn and to make it longer, because originally in the pattern it's kind of hits a little bit above the waist and I like it to hit mid-hip. So there's the top, there's an arm, and then I should have put in a progress marker, but last week I was just right here, I think. So I've knit all that this week. That's a lot. I'm proud of myself because it's really beautiful. I love the color on that. It's going to go with so many things, and it's just going to be gorgeous, and it's going to be perfect for Texas in the spring and the fall. So it's fun. And I'm knitting these on my marbles needles, which I love because I love to match the color of the yarn with the needles. This is like a weird secret, but sometimes, even if I don't get gauge, I will go with the needle that matches the yarn, or that I like the way the yarn looks better, and just alter what size I'm making or have it be a little bit bigger or smaller just so I can use the certain needles, because I'm cheesy. Next thing I'm working on is my Suburban Stitcher bag, and these are just some plain vanilla socks. I guess I should have said that I have one half done, because I have one. I don't think I had this done last week. I think I was almost done, but I have one finished. I use the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which is my one that I have memorized, so I like to use that one the most. When I'm doing toe up especially, I will almost always use that one. On top down, I use different ones because I knit both toe up and top down. But that's how much I got done this week. I am in the increases on the bottom for the gusset. You can't really see it, but kind of right there. And hopefully these will be done this week. Oh, let me show you the tag for that. The yarn that I'm using for that is my last skein of mustache yarns from the retreat I went to last summer, SSK. That is the yarn. And the colorway is Elsa and Anna, which is a reference to the Disney Frozen movie, which my daughter loves. And the next thing I have is a new cast on. So I don't know about you, but I like to read in bed. Probably you do. If you watch this podcast, you probably like to read. I think that's a safe thing for me to assume, because there are so many ones just knitting, but this is kind of a little offshoot of knitting and books. But so I like to read at night in bed or knit. My husband and I will watch things on the laptop while we do that. And I had a shawl. I should have looked up on Ravelry when I knit this, because I'm just going to guess now. I think I've had it for 6 years, just guessing. And it was a single plied yarn done in a clapotee. I don't know who did the pattern, but it was Malabrigo. And I loved it because Malabrigo single, it can pill, but it was just for reading inside. I would 100% rather have softness and just coziness of yarn over looking nice, perfect all the time. But that one, since it was very old and I would wear it to bed, and I sometimes, if it's cold, I will actually wear it in bed. And it is kind of looking really worse for the wear, and since it was the clapotee, which has drop stitches in it to create a design, it kind of started to fall apart. So I needed a new one because I have to have a thing to wrap up in when I'm reading at night, because we keep the house very hot during the day in the summer. And then at night we cool it down, and so when the air is blowing on you when you're reading in bed, I can get very cold. So all that to say, I cast on a new shawl. Actually, I ordered the yarn for it and cast on, which is something I never do. I am such a planner, but I just knew I needed one. So the yarn that I got, some more Malabrigo. Oops, it's upside down. That won't be easy to read. Malabrigo in the colorway Water Green, as they're single worsted. And I knew that I wanted a giant worsted weight shawl that would just be so soft, but I wanted it to have a little bit of pattern or texture to keep it interesting. So I went searching on the Ravelry wonderful feature of Advanced Pattern Browser, which is one of my favorite things about Ravelry. and I found a wonderful pattern that I cast on. So this is in my very cute bag by KCPocketsToGo. I think it's so cute. And she does have an Etsy shop. She's one of my local friends. She does have an Etsy shop, but the best way to kind of see all her fabrics is to follow her on Instagram, and you can contact her on there, and she has all her fabrics listed. But the shawl that I picked was the Iberian Discovery by Stephen West. And this is going to be huge, but I just cast on shawl, and you can see the single looks so soft and cozy. But so how this pattern kind of goes is it has some eyelet section up here, and it has a fun textured bump. I think he calls it a welt or something, I don't remember, that you create there. And then there's short rows, which are fun, and more eyelets, and there's a lot of texture and a lot of fun things. And there are sections in it, so you can complete one section, then go on to the next. And I just did cast this on and worked on it on Friday. I didn't do any other on it. But it's on size my needle, so it's going to go really fast. And I'm going to have a shawl to keep me warm, and I think that color is beautiful. It's like a mint green. And then that's all my works in progress. I am still working on my hats that I'm doing for the raffle prizes for the knitting retreat that I'm going to in only a couple days. I need to start planning my retreat knitting. That's the fun part. Planning retreat knitting and planning the retreat purchases that you're going to get while you're there. And so I hope to have that shawl done pretty quickly so I can wear it. Now on to spinning. It is Tour de Fleece, and it's my first one. I'm sorry if you don't spin, but maybe you could be excited for me because this is my first year getting to participate. As you probably know, all my immediate family, my family that was my mom, my dad, and then my husband's family, and my brother and my sister-in-law, everybody pitched in and combined their money and got me a spinning wheel, a ladybug for Christmas. So this is my first time having a wheel for Tour de Fleece, and I have been going at it. And my goal was to do an hour a day. I may have done 3 hours or more yesterday, and I've already done, I think at least, 1.5 today, maybe more, maybe less, somewhere around there. And if you follow me on Instagram, I have been posting a little bit of a music clip and me spinning for the today and yesterday, and I think I'm going to do that the whole tour because it's so fun. But what I worked on yesterday, I finished plying. I hope to have this done. There's going to be fiber flying everywhere. I hope to have this done before the tour started, but I failed. This is some clouds. I applied the rest of this, most of it, yesterday. This is some Cloud Lover in the colorway Iris, and it was, I don't remember. It's not a merino. It's not a Polworth. It's one of those. I wish I'd brought down the tag, but maybe it's a Rambouillet. I'm not sure, but it's gorgeous, and I got a little over 300 yards of, before it was soaked and got its bath, it was a fingering weight, but now it's probably a sport. I love it. Oh my gosh. The thing that I really love about spinning is that you can see the colors in the bump of fiber, but they turn out completely different from how you would ever expect. I'm so happy with this. It's still a little bit damp, but I love it. I never thought that I would be a spinner. I can completely be honest about that because when I first learned to knit, I had friends that would spin, and they would try to entice me into their ways, and I would tell them, I do not need a step between me and yarn. That was always my catchphrase that I would use when anyone tried to get me spinning. I do not need a step between me and yarn. But I always loved the look of hand spin. I always thought it was pretty, so I used to kind of buy some from different spots, but I love spinning. It is the most zen thing to me. But it can be zen in a calming way, but it can also be zen in a refreshing way. I came downstairs this morning and I was having my coffee and I was practically collapsing at the table. I was so tired. And I told my husband, because I can't sleep through things. I can't sleep through fireworks. He can sleep through anything. I told him, I said, I think I need to go back upstairs and lie down because I am about to collapse. But instead, for some reason, I thought I'll just spin for a couple of minutes and get this next fiber started. And it helped to refresh me. Something about being alone with your thoughts and just the rhythmic motion, it's wonderful. So if you have ever thought that you would never spin, you might give it a try. I'm totally enabling people, but you might give it a try. I would say don't buy a wheel right off if you've never tried it, but there are drop spindles. A lot of yarn stores have where you can rent their wheel, which is the best of both worlds. That's how I got my wheel. I rented the store one, and they put my rental money credit towards the wheel. So I got a big discount on my wheel when I got it because I'd been using the rental one, and it just kind of helped me realize how much I love it. So I applied that. Then yesterday I spun this up. I'm not going to remember. This is an Etsy store, and this fiber was actually given to me by Brenda, who is awesome. And this is my favorite now. The colors are really pretty, but the thing that's my favorite is it was pencil roving. I don't know if any of you spinners, I don't know if it's a thing with spinners, if spinners think that pencil roving is bad or good, but I love it. It's already done for you in these little things, so you don't have to do any fiber prep. It's all just done, and you can just spin, and it was wonderful. And I automatically went to Etsy to go and try to find more, but they're on vacation, so I don't know. But I spun that entire 4 ounces in one day. And it's funny because, I don't know, last week I talked to you guys about my goals for Tour de Fleece, and it runs from July 4th through, I'm looking at my calendar, I think the 26th. And my goal was to spin 3 4-ounce braids and then a little mini battling of 2 ounces. Yesterday I spun one of the 4-ounce braids. Today I am 2/3 of the way through another 4-ounce braid, so I need to adjust my goal. I may get through most of my fiber this month. But so the next thing I put on my wheel, and these are Acreworks bobbins, which I love because on my Ladybug, the bobbins that came with it, they kind of clunk. I don't know if their sizing just isn't right, but the Acre ones are soundless and they don't make any noise, and they come in fun colors. That is actually a bright caution cone orange. It's not going to show up bright, but this wonderfulness is some Cloud Lover. I have a lot of Cloud Lover. It's one of the ones I got a lot of when I first started even drop spindling. And it is in the Mother of Dragons colorway, which is a Game of Thrones reference. I think I'm about the only person on the planet that doesn't watch that show, but I don't have television in that way. I just have Netflix. But I have enjoyed spinning this a lot so far. It is an MCN or an MCS, which merino, cashmere, silk. And I have had to pull out some silk little schlubs that have been just stuck in there and made the yarn look really bad. So there's a tiny bit of management, but what I did with this, because I loved the pencil roving so much, I made little pencil roving balls with this fiber. So I had to prep it myself, but I took the braid, I undid it, I spread it out, and then I pulled long strips all the way down. So I have 2 of these left. And the thing that I really love, this reminds me of like beach. I don't know why, but I love seeing the way the colors play together because you can look at this. It's so soft. Wonderful little ball of fiber, and then it becomes that. And this is spinning at a fingering weight, but of course it will plump up. That's all my spinning. I hope to spin the rest of that today. I spin while listening to Science Friday or an audio book or another knitting audio podcast or something. So I am in love with Tour de Fleece. It's so much fun, and I love looking at the pictures online of everybody's on Instagram, and it's so inspiring. So next thing we have is enabling. I don't have any. I don't have any yarn enabling of any kind. I have the knitting retreat coming up in 10 days? Soon, very soon. I don't have anything coming because I'm saving up my money for that. But I did get my husband something, and he loves it. And I wanted to show you guys. As you might have known, he's been on the podcast before. He's knitting a Doctor Who scarf for a Halloween costume, and it's the never-ending scarf. It's really long. I'm trying to get my son to help him knit on it because he's not knitting enough on it to get it completed in time, and he really wants it done. So it was in a little Doctor Who bag that I had, and the scarf had completely outgrown the bag. So I talked to my friend who does the KCPocketsToGo and asked her what other nerd bag stuff she had. She had Sherlock. And so I got my husband as a thank you, because I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I got him a Sherlock bag. He loves, or we both love, the BBC Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, which comes on like every 2 years, the new season. But my husband has also read the books, and he really, really liked the books. So he really likes this bag, or he likes it a lot, and it's very big. So it will definitely hold his scarf till the end of the project, which is what I was exactly looking for. So thank you, Kim. So if you like Doctor Who, Sherlock Holmes fabric, you should go check out her store. And now for group news. This is episode 50. How did that even happen? And a big reason why I got that Sherlock bag is a thank you for my husband, because this podcast would not happen if it weren't for him. And of course for all of you, and I'm very thankful for all of you, but my husband definitely watches the podcast. He jokes that I'm his favorite podcast, and he listens to a lot, not knitting, but a lot of other podcasts, and he's so sweet. So I know he'll be seeing this, and he doesn't know I'm going to say this, but this podcast would not happen if it weren't for him and his wonderfulness. He watches the kids while I podcast. That's why I also try to keep it short, because I don't want to have him having to watch the kids for hours as I'm talking to you. But he watches the kids while I podcast. He's helped me with technical stuff. I don't do much editing, because again, I don't want to be like, here, honey. He doesn't have a lot of time, and I know that on his downtime it's not something he would really want to do. But a lot of people have asked me how I record every week. He is the one that this would not be as consistent as it is if it weren't for him, because he's the one that tells me, he's like, you got to do it every week. Since he watches a lot of podcasts or listens to a lot of podcasts, he kind of has specific opinions about them. And I'm pretty laid back, and I don't really have pet peeves. That's not really my personality, but he kind of is one of those people that has pet peeves about different things. And one of his big pet peeves with his podcast that he listens to is when people say they're going to record and then they don't, because he's looking forward to it. So he is very much encouraging me to go and podcast. And it's been great because it's kind of got me in the schedule of it. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to him, because I love you, Will, and you're awesome. So thank you for all that you do. Okay, now group news really fast. We have the fingering weight cal going on in the group, and there are some great prizes for that. We have a read-along with Robin, 92, who is stitching between pages, and we are reading Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. And there was a funny quote in that to where I talked about knitting too much, and she was always knitting when she was sitting or standing, and I put that quote in the read-along thread because it was just so funny. And we also have going on, I think that's it, the fingering weight and the read-along. But we had a 500 member giveaway going on, and that has been closed because it's the first Sunday in July, which is when I said I tried to leave it open for a really long time because I feel bad when people miss out. It makes me feel sad, and I feel like I'm not doing a good job organizing all that. So I tried to leave it open for as long as I could for anybody who was, gone on the summer vacation and just catching up. And we had, I think, 112, I'll get my phone because I drew on my phone. We had 112 entries, and the person who won was post 80, and that was Sarah Jean 77. And Sarah Jean, just let me know if that color is still the one. I think she said Bad Ballerina is what I have written on my computer. But let me know if that's still the color that you want, and I will buy that and get them to send that off to you. So I'm really happy that everybody participated in that and that the group's still growing. And all of us, because you're watching, so you're included, to have a 1 year I'm not even going to be able to say this word. 1 year of podcasting. We'll just say that. I have been doing this for 1 year at the end of July, which is crazy. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But I am going to that knitting retreat, SSK, Super Summer Knit Together, and I'm going to be getting some really great prizes. And I had a couple people contact me wanting to do donation stuff, which is amazing because I never think of myself as cool enough to have donations, and so it's really sweet when people offer. So we're going to have a really big blowout for the 1 year podcast I need more coffee before I try that word again. 3.5 hours sleep just isn't enough for this brain, but we'll be looking for that towards the end of July. There will be a bunch of prizes, and I'm excited. I'll probably put up a thread for that maybe, I don't know, the week that I come back probably from the retreat, so I can show you guys the prizes so you can know if you want to enter or not. And I'm excited to think about a prompt for that. I don't know, I might do something like your favorite podcast moment because that might be fun to see. And that is all we have with group stuff. Now on to the book. The book this week is one that I was at the bookstore and I saw the cover and it kind of just drew me in. It's very simplistic, but again, pop of color, that blue suitcase. A Constellation of Vital Phenomena. Okay, now the Muppet song is in your head. By Anthony Marra. And this book was hard to read. It's a New York Times bestseller. It deals with Chechnya, and I don't remember the exact year, but there was a war fairly recent, within the last 2 decades, I believe, maybe early or late 90s, Chechnya and Russia. And I talked a little while ago on the podcast that I was reading a book that portrayed Russia in not so great a light, and it was kind of making me sad, and this was that book. But I did want to review it because, I think that some people would probably enjoy this book, and I did enjoy it, not to say that I didn't. But the story deals with a relationship between a man and a little girl. And the little girl is Hava, and her father is taken away and presumably killed by Russian soldiers in the middle of the night. And so a neighbor kind of adopts her and takes her to a hospital where there's this woman doctor. And he tells the woman doctor, I offer my services to help you in the hospital if you will look after this girl. And it deals with the village that the little girl came from, Hava came from, and there is a snitch in the village, somebody who is telling, because there's not a lot of food and people are starving, so one of the people in the village is turning in his neighbors for food. And the thing that I really loved about this author was he did little inside looks into people's lives, such as, an example that always stands out in my mind, they're saying that one of the people in the story was heating up a sandwich on a hot plate. And then it gave a little side story. They had bought this hot plate from a woman in a market, and the woman in the market always regretted selling that hot plate because for 23 years she could never find one as good as it. So all throughout the story, there are little side bits on different people's lives who aren't even in the story. And I thought that was really fun. And another thing that this story does that I really liked was there's the guy that's telling on his neighbors, but it goes far into his story to where you can feel bad for him. I think it's very hard for a writer to create a character where you all at once hate and sympathize with. So I thought it was very well written. This author definitely deserves the different awards that he got. He got a Great New Writer award, and I thought it was really well written. So that is A Constellation of Vital Phenomena by Anthony Marra. And that is everything I have for you guys this week. I hope you have a wonderful week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.